Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back after a week break. Yes, as always, I am your host, SRL Spider 95, and we are live from a very hot and muggy Qatar for round 3 of SRL Season 1. We had a bit of a break. That is because, well, I had things on last week. It was my dad's birthday, so racing had to subside. However, after the events of our last race in CRL, I think it was safe to say that all of our drivers needed a week break. For those that weren't watching, I'm just going to refresh your memory. We had people coming into the lobby that was not involved in SRL in any way and put a lot of drivers off and ruined the atmosphere quite a bit. However, we have since caught the people that were responsible. They have swiftly been removed, and we have now cracked down on security of the server, believe it or not. We have put so much effort into getting everything back to normal. So thank you for standing by. We're waiting. Now, my co-host, Mr. AFL, is running a tad late. He's only just got back from work, and he does send his apologies. He will be with us as soon as he possibly can. So in the meantime, you have got to enjoy my lovely, lovely voice. Yes, that's right. You've got to enjoy me and just me. I'm having a bit of a habit now lately, to be fair. But don't worry, I'm sure you all enjoy everything. Right then, so a bit of a recap. We're going to get all the bits of stats up for everybody, and then we're going to go from there. We are on board with Jenkins at the moment, recently promoted to a full-time driver here in SRL, and he's looking to do better than what he did last week. Last week, well, to be fair, every driver's going to be looking to do being a bit better than what they did last week, to be fair. It was nothing but chaos. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to load up the table when I find it on my stream, just while Jenkins takes us out for his warm-up lap. Just got to find it. Where is it? Standings, there we are. So, as it stands, Mr. Dean Pryor is currently leading the championship by a single point. He has 36 points. Following up close behind him with one win under his belt this season, it is Dan 94 in McLaren. And then it is Wesley in the Mercedes following close behind. Both Dan and Wesley are in equal second at the moment. So it's going to be a very, very interesting race. Dan will be looking to get a win, and Dean will be looking to keep Dan at bay. Well, Dan and Wesley, he's got a double threat coming his way. Now, what can we say about Qatar? Qatar is one of the new tracks on this game, and it's dubbed the Penalty Grand Prix because of how easy it is to pick up time penalties on this track. As my co-host, who has now finally joined us in the comments box, late than ever, probably down at the snack van, it is Mr. AFL. How are we doing, buddy?
I'm good, mate. Long day. Absolutely long day at work, mate.
Long day at the office.
Getting in actually at 8 o'clock doesn't really help.
No. You hear? That is the main thing. Now, Jenkins has invalidated, so we're going to go and find out who's next. I believe it is Dan that will be the person to start the first lap of the session. Now, AFL, you didn't get to comms Qatar with me in CRL, so this is sort of like a second chance for you, so you get to finally get a crack at it.
Bite of the cherry. Yeah.
Now, have you been looking forward to this week?
I have obviously missing out commentating with you beforehand. But yeah, from the race that I saw, there was a lot of drama. I'm expecting the same tonight. Lots of places for overtakes as well. So it's gonna be interesting Grand Prix. It
is gonna be a very interesting Grand Prix, and it's a track that I absolutely love. We've only seen it once on TV, and it was Lewis who won the Qatar Grand Prix, if I remember correctly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's the only race winner that we have got here. Dan setting the first lap of the evening. He goes 1:21.6, and then Adam in the Haas, he goes a 1:23.3. So a bit of a big gap there. Severe Scott in the AlphaTauri goes with a 1:24. And then Mark Wilson with a 122.6. Then we've got Wee Rabby. He's coming in with a cross with a 123.6. And the Ferrari of Salvatore, he's back this week and rocking the new Ferrari livery of a 124.1. Dean Pryor, the man who sits in championship pole position, 1 minute 30. He's going to be wanting to improve on that quite massively, as Merman also comes across the line with 122.4. He'll be quite happy with that, because that's a Red Bull 2-3 as it stands. Jess has come across the line in the Alfa Romeo. She's desperate to try and bag herself a full-time seat. You never know, Jess. You may actually get a seat very soon. She's set to 1 minute 23.3. Who's going to be next? Topher's still in the pit lane. Somebody else just crossed the line there. And the mighty Atom with a 123.9. He'll be happy with that.
Jenkins is on the lap now.
Jenkins is on the lap.
Final corner, yeah.
So let's see what he can do. Bring to the table. I don't think he's had much ERS assistance during this lap, but what has he managed to perform? He's gone 1 minute 25.6. So despite that non-ERS, still keeping up. But we've got a bit of a apologies there, you just saw a bit of a blank screen for a split second. Bracy has just asked to join the session. He said he was running late. Luckily, we have only just started, so he's not missed out on much. He is the other Aston Martin driver today. So 16 drivers on the grid. 2 of them are reserves. What are you expecting from today's race? Obviously, compared to what we had on our last outing at SRL, I hope you're expecting something good.
As I said in sort of the preview, lots of overtakes, lots of strategy. I think you alluded to it when you did your intro as well. Time penalties, because it's just literally lethal around here. Like, you just dip a tyre past the white line and that's literally it. And because the corners are so fast as well, it's tough to get them right consistently every lap. So fair play to anybody that comes out of the race tonight without any penalties.
No.
But I think there'll be a few penalties tonight.
I think the stewards are going to have a busy day.
Yeah, maybe the stewards will be busy, so I think the stewards out there are unlucky.
I think the stewards are going to have a busy Sunday evening tomorrow, but obviously, hopefully these boys can keep it clean and have a good race. Now, while we were talking, Dean has gone provisional P2 of 122.0, Wesley's gone provisional P3 of 122.3, and Kitas is about to cross the line and start his first hot lap of the day. So we're going to stick on board with him while we see what he can bring to the party. So we have had a couple of no-shows this evening. Obviously, the stewards will take a look into that at the end of today's racing, and we will go from there. But yeah, let's wind the clocks back 2 weeks now, AFL, which now kind of seems like a bit of a bad dream.
I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't remember what happened yesterday. So I'm not going to be able to remember what happened 2 weeks ago. What race were we at 2 weeks ago?
Well,
see if I can jog my memory.
Well, let me be the one to re-jog your memory for you. If you remember, in Portugal, it started off really, really well, and then we had people that weren't part of the SRL.
Oh, yeah, where people were jumping in. Yeah, that weren't in the actual
league.
Yeah. You've jogged my memory now.
That's all I had to say. Which went on and on and on.
I'm lucky I was off work that day, because I wouldn't have continued. I would have just said to you, I'm done, mate. I've had a long day at work and I can't deal with this any longer. But luckily I was off that day, so it wasn't too bad. We persevered, we got through. I think it was the 3rd or 4th attempt we got through, but we managed to get through.
No, we did manage to get through.
The culprits have been sort of found, so hopefully we can move on with better racing and better etiquette as well.
Hopefully, yeah. Well, Kritas has abandoned his lap. He's come in, so we're going to jump on board with CRL Topher, who's yet to set a lap. Obviously, one of the CRL boys that we know quite well, FL. Obviously, we race in his division over at CRL. Big shout out to them boys. A lot of them boys have come over to try and help get SRL off the ground, and obviously we couldn't be more thankful. I definitely couldn't be. I know you couldn't be as well, mate, because obviously CRL a big part of mine and yours life.
Yeah, shout out to obviously CRL, but also obviously shout out to SRL as well. SRL is doing its thing. That's what we're here for tonight.
and we're getting on quite well, to be fair. We're slowly getting that audience built up. We're slowly getting our name out there, because SRL are headed over to a different league. Next Thursday, we've got 5 representatives heading over in what's going to be the debut of our F1 World livery very, very shortly this week. Obviously, the boys already know what it looks like. They've been hard at work getting ready for a league versus league battle. 4 leagues going head to head. Hopefully SRL can get a win under their belt straight away. It's like being called up for your country. And as Martin Johnson said, there's no greater honour than serving your nation when playing a sport.
Absolutely.
It's kind of the same thing when you think about it. You're representing the channel. You've been selected out of a big group. You've been hand-selected to go out there and represent SRL.
I don't know if you remember. Do you remember A1 Grand Prix, A1 GP? Does that ring a bell to you?
Kind of, a little bit.
So basically what it was, obviously this is where I am like a racing nerd. There was this thing back in the day where you would get like the best drivers from each country and they'd race against each other. So cars, so you had people from, I believe it was the British Isles. I don't think it was like obviously split between England and Wales and everybody, but everybody had their own, and you'd race against like drivers from Europe, drivers from Asia, around certain tracks as well. It was quite interesting. Yeah, so similar to that, obviously you want to race as best you can for your league, because as well, doing well puts the league on the map, and then you're probably going to get more people interested, more sponsorships, more viewers, etc, etc. So the guys that have been picked, I think they know their role, they know what they have to do, and obviously they're in it to win it, and that's what we want them to do, is to win.
No, definitely. As we were talking there, obviously the upcoming event, Topher has set his first lap of the evening with a 1:24.7, and his teammate Bracey, who's just behind him, he seems to get a little bit of a tow from his teammate, starts his hot lap of the evening. Now, a couple of no-shows, like I said, this evening. It is a shame, obviously, but we know it can happen. SRL 34 does send his apologies. Unfortunately, though, he has been caught up outside of the world of F1. Obviously, if you are watching Scott, obviously, we know, things can get in the way, but we are looking forward to when we can get you on the grid. And I know you were desperate to make your debut this evening and make your mark on the calendar. But hopefully, we'll see you racing here at SRL very, very soon. But no, I am looking forward to seeing what these boys can do. Obviously, we've got a couple of the representatives as well. Dan's representing it. Wesley's, I believe, I know Dean is. I know Mark Wilson is. I know... Let's get the list. We'll make the announcement of the drivers who are going to be representing, obviously, SRL. It's a secret channel that only they can see. SRL Team Chat. So, the drivers for SRL are the following... It is Mark Wilson, Dean Pryor, Dan 94PL, Wesley, and TGT Palmer. They are all representing SRL. Bracey sets his first lap of the evening. He'll be happy. It's provisional P4 as it stands with 122.3. We do have a bit of a yellow flag in Sector 1. I'm assuming that's for one of the Alpha Tauris to let the other person pass. Tritas finally sets his first lap. He's gone P12, 1 minute 23.6. And obviously, as always, if you do wish to partake in it, there is a little bit of a mini game going on when we are live. The Pokemon catching game is live in the chat. Just make sure, obviously, you have your Pokemon trainer ID, and then you'll be able to catch Pokemon in the channel. Speaking of Pokemon, it was Pokemon Community Day today, and I've been in the sun all day, burning alive, catching Charmanders.
Sounds like you had a great day.
It was actually good, to be fair. We took Lillian up to the wildlife park, and a couple of mates from Stoke came up and saw us for the first time. I've not seen them in about a year, so we had a good catch up with everyone, to be fair. It was good. It was nice.
Yeah, that's good. Nothing beats sort of time away with friends and family.
Exactly. We are going to jump on board with, he's invalidated, so we aren't going to jump on board with him. Kitas has got no ERS, so he's definitely not on an outlap. Is Phantom Nug on a... I think he is. We'll see what he can do. He's currently P7. Does he improve? And the answer is... No, he stays provisional P7. He's still got 4 minutes.
He's just wide. I'm watching my man there, but he's kept his foot in it. Nothing. No validation. Oh, and he's hit the wall.
Oh, what's he going to do? Is he going to improve? He does
improve. Yeah. So
an improvement.
Lap, then he could definitely move up a couple of places there. Because up until that point, he had that car on rails, and he probably lost a couple of attempts there.
An improvement is still an improvement, regardless. That's
100%.
But a lot of these boys have been waiting to race. Like, speaking to Jenkins, because I do know him outside of this, he came up to me at work. He doesn't work with me, but he's one of the partners of one of the people I work with. And he went, has it been a week already? I went, what do you mean? He went, well, it's race day shortly, isn't it? I went, yeah, man. He went, but we've had a week break. I went, yeah. It's just so, because it does come by quite quickly. Let's face it. I think you're the same way when it comes to like CRL and SRL, and then obviously any other leagues you do race in as well.
I don't race in any other leagues anymore.
Oh, have you called a day at the other one?
I have, yeah.
Oh, fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Anyway, we are on board with Dan at the moment, who is on a hot lap. He did go fast in Sector 1 a moment ago, so he's looking to try and improve as well. With 3 minutes left on the clock, hopefully he can do. But Dan is the man to beat at the moment. He's currently sitting P2 in the championship alongside Wesley. By a point separates Dan and Wesley from Dean Pryor, who's currently leading the championship. Now, we spoke about, obviously, the standings when it comes to the drivers, but let's take a look at the constructors after Dan crosses the line. Does he improve? The answer is yes, he does, but not by much by the looks of it. But it's still an improvement, like I said, nonetheless. So we are going to jump on board with Adam, who I believe is just about to cross the line. What's he going to do? No improvement from him, but the Alpine of Atom is I believe he's about to start his lap here. So we're going to stick on board with Atom while we go through the constructors. So currently, as it stands, with 40 points is McLaren. In second is Williams with 36. Then it is Red Bull with 34. Mercedes on 27. Haas on 25. Ferrari with 14. Aston Martin with 10. Alpine with 8. AlphaTauri with 6. And Alfa Romeo with 4. So every team has scored points so far this season. And we are only on round 3. So nobody's going home with nil points. But early days yet still. We've got 15 rounds, obviously, overall for this league. And what is going to be coming up in a week's time? You're probably wondering to yourself, well, let me get the calendar up and we can go from there. So, obviously, we just had a week break. So, up next week, it's a track that I've been dying to do comms on for so long. We're going to Miami AFL.
Wow. I mean, I actually wish I was in Miami. I don't think I'd be in a fit state to actually commentate. So it's probably good. It's probably good we're doing it virtually, because if we were actually there, then I wouldn't turn up much. So, but yeah, looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to Miami. It's one of the races where I wish, you know what, do I just sneakily jump into a driver's pit for a brief second. Adam doesn't improve, unfortunately. The next person to cross the line, I believe, is going to be an Aston Martin. Is it Bracey? No, it's going to be Topher, who's going on a hot lap. So we'll wait for... It is going to be Bracey then that sets the next timed lap of the session. He's currently P4 with 1 minute 22.3. He's looking to improve, and I think he's going to. Oh, he doesn't. Stays at P4. Mark Wilson's next, though, but he's on a hot out lap. Who's coming in? Who's about? You're all coming across the line at once. Stop, people, stop. Give me time.
I'll keep an eye on Mark Wilson as well now.
Wee Rabbi is in the pits. I believe that's the Ferrari of Salvatore who's just started. So everybody is pretty much now starting their last hot laps of the evening. So we're going to stick on board then with, I believe it's going to be Ferrari, who's going to be the first person to wave the checkered flag. Wee Rabbi, Severe Scott, Dean Pryor and Dan, they're done. But can Salvatore do anything to it? I do love that Ferrari livery, and I'm happy they put it on the car instead of a multiplayer livery. Salvatore improves and goes P9. Now we've got a Williams coming across the line of Jenkins. He improves to P13. I'm sure he'll be happy with the improvement, but I know he is desperate to get points this evening, because he has said that he has struggled a little bit this week with practicing on Qatar, so he'll just be happy to finish in the points, I think. Alright then, who's next? It's Topher, who's coming around the final corner. Can he improve? He's currently sitting at the back of the grid. Is he going to get an improvement? I believe he is. Where's he going to end up? It's P16, the P15. does improve, but only one spot. He will be starting on the back row. Right then, up next, I believe it is Mark Wilson. It is Mark Wilson that's going to cross the line. Can he improve? And the answer is yes, he goes P4. Now we've got the Mercedes of Phantom Nug. He improves and goes P6. Right, up next, I believe that's an Alfa Romeo. It is an Alfa Romeo. It's Jess. What's Jess going to be able to do? Improvement goes P9. Love it. Love everything about it. And Merriman's going to wrap up the qualifying session this evening. And he goes P7. And that will be our qualifying grid. Interesting quali. Obviously, the top 3 in the championship are sitting P1, P2, P3. Mark is forever looming as well. Your thoughts, AFL, after that qualifying session?
I'm looking at the times now, between sort of the top 8, actually not too bad in terms of time. It's quite close, actually. So that would make it an interesting, and obviously some of the guys behind may have not had a clean lap or maybe have made some mistakes as well. But obviously it's just qualifying. The race is obviously where the points are given out.
Right, that is true.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Right then, just to round things off then. So Dan will take pole with McLaren in P1, and then it's Wesley P2, Dean Pryor P3, Mark Wilson P4, Bracey the latecomer P5, Phantom in 6, Merriman in 7th, Adam in 8th, Jess in 9th, Salvatore in 10th. That runs up the top half of our grid and the starting point runners. Rabbi in 11th, Kitas in 12th, Jenkins in 13th, Atom in 14th, Topher in 15th, and Severe Scott completes tonight's grid in 16th. Only 16 drivers, 14 which are full-time, 2 of which are reserves. It's going to be an interesting race, that is for sure. So now it is just a matter, like I said, it is Qatar, so let's face it, rain is going to be extremely low, but never say never. Now, drivers who are under racing orders to wait until you see the ready up icon in the group chat, please wait. It's just to allow drivers to have their strategy, but I think these drivers have pretty much got that message already. Now, just while we wait, obviously we do have Miami next week, and then we have another scheduled break week. Then we have a triple header where we head down under to Australia, China, and then the dreaded and feared Monaco before a 2-week break where we then have a last dash to the finish where it's 8 weeks in a row. Brazil, Mexico, Imola, Austria, Abu Dhabi, Belgium, Monza before the season finale on the 16th of December in Las Vegas, which I can't wait for. What would your strat be for around here? What was your strat when we was racing AFL? Because you pulled off a blinder, obviously, on that safety car restart.
We're not going to talk about.
And we're not going to talk about that,
because literally my strategy was, I think I pitted about 4 or 5 times that race.
Well, the drivers have been given their instructions. They are now free to ready up because a minute has passed. That gives 60 seconds to decide, and by the looks of it, they've all done. Formation lap, as you can tell, is still off until further notice. We are at 5 lights out, and it's a quick one in Qatar. It's 5 lights out, and away we go. There we go. That was a bit of a delay. I don't know if you had that as well.
Yeah, the lights, it was a little bit of a pause there.
Dan's got off to a lovely start, and Dean and Wesley are trying to keep up. There doesn't seem to be any argy-bargy at the moment. It was a clean getaway from everyone.
That's what we like to see.
Oh, we do have a yellow flag. We do have someone spinning in the back. Who is it? I believe it's Scott.
It's Scott, yeah. Don't think he's got damage, though.
No, you think it's just a spin?
Yeah, just a spin. He may have had contact with somebody. But yeah.
Well, maybe one to look after.
Maybe you can catch up to the pack.
Well, we've got plenty of time, yeah. 29 laps of racing, and Dan is slowly making that gap straight away. Some of the drivers are saying Dan's a bit too quick. Well, get quicker then, boys. Dan is showing out. Obviously, we've only got the one division in SRL at the moment. As a Season 2, we are thinking about maybe 2 tiers, one being an F1 tier, one being an F2 tier. Obviously, more on that to come in the future. It's been a great start. It's been a clean start. Scott's been the only one who's had a bit of a struggle, as Dan is going to bring it across to set the first pole lap of the season. It is a 1:32.8. That is the time to beat. And Kitas is coming into pit. So one of the AlphaTauri boys has come in. Maybe he did have a bit of contact with his teammate. Obviously, we'll find that out maybe post-race, as Bracy goes for the overtake, and there is a lovely battle going on between the Aston Martin and the Mercedes. The Mercedes looks like he took it, that corner just a little bit too wide there. Mark Wilson takes his opportunity and also gets passed around the Mercedes, and he is now up to P4. Obviously, Mark is just that little lion who's always sleeping and ready to dance. But I'll tell you what, Bracy is now trying to catch up to Dean Pryor. We've got a bit of a battle going on here. Dan, so long as he keeps it under control, he should be okay.
So it's a long race, mate. Anything can happen.
Yeah, safety cars galore could change absolutely everything, let's face it. Let's go find someone to show some love to. We're going to jump on board with our reserve driver, that is of Jess, who's having a bit of a battle with Adam at the moment. Jess, like I said a moment ago, desperate for a full-time seat. Jess, you may be getting your wish sooner than you think, because there may be some full-time seats coming up soon. That's purely because, obviously, because of we're 3 rounds in already, and the no-shows and the absences are building up already. Some drivers have already reached their cap already. So, anyone who is watching, if you want to be part of SRL, obviously you can find our server on Discord. Obviously, the information's on the YouTube channel, but we're not currently taking any more applications at the moment, but do feel free to join the server for when we do open that back up again. Obviously, applications are currently closed due to the mishaps that happened in Portugal. But there's a lovely battle going on here between Adam and Jess. I don't know if you're watching it at all, mate.
I am, mate. I am keeping an eye on it. Positions are changing.
Well, wee Rabby. Jess lets wee Rabby pass. Ooh. Bit of a tail spin. Ooh!
Yeah. Adam got a bit of a tank slapper there.
He did. But he has.
There by Wee Rabby, yeah.
Wee Rabby's getting around quite nicely, and now I think he's trying to hold Adam up a little bit. And Adam, and there's contact between the Haas and the Alfa Romeo of Wee Rabby.
I think Jess may have gone into the back of Adam.
And Kitas has retired in the pits. Kitas has called it a day, but he's done the right thing and he's retired in the lobby. And Jess has gone for a bit of a spin.
I think she had damage, to be honest.
With that bump, obviously, I wouldn't be surprised, to be fair. It was a bit of a nasty bump. And here come the penalties. Wesley and Adam both picking up the first 3 of the day. It is the penalty Grand Prix. However, we have got a ghosted AlphaTauri, and I believe that's Kitas's AlphaTauri that has come back out onto track for some reason. And I believe he has now pulled over to one side. We're going to jump aboard one of the back runners. Yeah, Kitas's AlphaTauri has pulled over into the gravel trap. Kitas can't be penalised for that purely because he did do the retirement inside the pit lane. He did obey the SRL rules, so there'll be no penalty there for him. Well, 4 laps in, mate. The penalties are starting to build up already. We did dub it the penalty Grand Prix. Dan is in a league of his own, 3 seconds in front of Dean Pryor. But the battle for P2 is heating up.
It's a bit like real life F1, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
At the front, and then the battle between, obviously, the rest of the podium places and the midfield is quite up.
Yeah, Jenkins picking up his first 3 seconds penalties of the day. It is going to literally come down 2 penalties by keeping it in them track limits. The only difference is that it is like watching we haven't got a social media page set up yet, but we are in the process of getting it sorted. It will be up and live, hopefully, for Miami. I've got 2 weekdays in a row coming off this week. It's just because I've had a lot of stuff on behind the scenes, because I'm going on holiday very shortly to Greece. So it's going to be, I've had a lot of stuff that I've needed to get planned. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so it is a lot like normal F1 at the moment. The only difference is the Red Bulls aren't driving off into the sunset. It's a McLaren. Now, we haven't seen that for a while, have we, AFL?
We have not.
Dean Pryor. We do. We always love to see a McLaren doing well, to be fair. Now, I missed calling today, unfortunately, but I'm just waiting for the Channel 4 highlights to watch that this evening after we're done racing here this afternoon. Well, this evening, I should say, not this afternoon.
Yeah, Collie, do you know the results at all?
I know the results. I know the results, but I don't know anything else which has happened. I've heard it was an interesting one.
I will say no more.
Nah, please don't. No spoilers. Right then, so let's go and find a bit of a battle. So the looks of it, Jenkins is trying to pull away from... Ooh, we seem to have a bit of a battle between Adam and Atom. Let's see what's going on there, shall we? Yeah, the penalties are slowly starting to build up one by one now. So long as Dan keeps it clean, obviously he'll keep hold. Oh, that was a bit of a love tap there between the Haas and the Alpine. I'm getting in the holiday mood already, AFL. I've got bottles of Fanta Lemon.
Nothing, it has to be ice cold though, mate.
Unfortunately, it is room temperature because of how hot it has been today.
Nah, Rob, you're letting the side down.
I am, mate.
It's good, mate. It's good.
I'll get on it, don't worry about it. I'll get it sorted for the time of our next race, which is obviously in Miami. And if we are going over to Miami where it's hot and humid, I'm going to need ice cold Fanta Lemon. Or maybe something else if we're going to Miami. Yeah. It's been a good race so far. There's been no real major upsets. Obviously, there's been a couple of love taps, but apart from the penalties coming up, because it is so easy to do at this track, and it is really easy to do. But it's so nice to drive as well. I don't know if you agree with me on that.
Yeah, I love it. It's just flowing, and obviously every corner leads into another, but you carry so much speed, especially through Sector 2.
You can.
Sector 3. Yeah. And it's one of those tracks where you get one corner wrong and that's the rest of the lap pretty much done because you lose momentum. It's a momentum track.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm trying to think of a track like a Monaco where you can sort of be slow and then you gain the speed back gradually. This track you have to be on it throughout. And obviously Monaco has the walls, which is obviously dangerous. But in terms of a flowing track, this is one of the most flowing tracks, especially on the calendar.
It is a nice flowing track, and I've spent many hours going around this track already. So, speaking of people going around this track, let's take a look and see who has... Let's fastest that. I'm not interested in that. I want to see who's lost and gained positions wise. So no surprise, the top three are in the same positions as they started. Bracy is up 1, Mark is down 1, Phantom and Merman are in the same positions. Wee Rabby is up 3. The biggest winner so far is Jenkins, who is up 4. Adam, he is down 2, but he's still in the points. Then you've got the Mighty Atom, who is up 3, Topher, who is up 3, Salvatore unfortunately has dropped down 3, Severe Scott has dropped down 2, but the biggest loser so far is Jess, who has dropped down 6.
But I believe Jess did have contact there as well.
Yeah, she did.
No fault for their own, yeah.
No, that could be one for, like you said earlier, for the stewards to take a look into. Yeah. Obviously, I've just also put on the Discord as well, for any of the drivers that are watching, the stewards office is now officially open until 5 PM BST time tomorrow. So any incidences that you need to report, obviously get them in and we'll take a look at them post-race. Right then, so let's go and find a bit of a battle. I think I just saw Adam overtake Jenkins there on the thing, and he has successfully.
Between Salvatore and Topher as well. To turn 1, they're quite close together.
There's battles wherever you look at the moment, to be fair. It is nice to see. Obviously, we've got a nice mixed bunch at the moment in SRL. Obviously, there's a few of the drivers that are saying that maybe a couple of drivers are a bit too quick Well, at the moment, we are very limited to the amount of drivers that we do have, being a new league. Hopefully, though, by season 2, because we'll do at least 2 seasons, especially because obviously it's on F123, so that'll be what our calendar is this season. And then, obviously, hopefully we can just go bigger and better from there, but hopefully we can just keep on building. Next season, obviously, we're hoping to have an F1 and an F2 league. F2, early development, but what we've established is, instead of it being the 11 teams, it'll be 10 teams, purely so we can have 2 comms in there. So, and obviously, time trials will come down, up and forth, whatever, and we'll establish it there. The 10 fastest drivers, sorry, the 20 fastest drivers in F1, 20 slowest drivers in F2, so that everyone's got a fair chance to be in the right division. But that's all early days at the moment, but it's something that we have been discussing behind the scenes. Now then, I do believe we've had a bit of a position change up front. Wesley is now P2 and Dean has dropped to P3.
Yeah, we may have missed that because I was still looking at the battle between Salvatore and Topher.
It was a good little
I think
battle.
Topher's stretching his legs out a little bit now. Back up to Wesley.
Well, the front 4 drivers all on softs. Mark on mediums, and then you've got Merman and Phantom both on hards. Rabbi on mediums. Adam is on hards. Jenkins is also on hards. Atom on mediums. Topher on hards. Salvatore on hards. Severe Scott on mediums. And Jess on mediums. As Jenkins picked up another 3-second time penalty this evening. As we said earlier, it is the penalty Grand Prix for a reason. But it's interesting calls and strategy. Obviously, the soft boys are going to be having to come in soon, because soft do just get eaten alive around this track, but I can only assume they're probably going to go soft to hard. Mediums, medium to, what, maybe hard? An early hard pit?
Yeah, you could probably stretch it out here. But we haven't had the safety car yet, have we?
We've not even had a VSC yet, and they are
so
definitely on.
I think that might be the indicator as to where people go to stretch strategy. Obviously not hoping there is a safety car. If there is one, then I think that
will change
the strategy for the guys.
Let's take a look and see who's currently got the fastest lap. I believe there's only one person that has got the fastest lap at the moment, and of course it is our race leader at the moment, Dan 94 in the McLaren, setting a 124.9. The next closest person is literally just under a second behind him. It is Wesley, 125.8. Still a long way to go yet, though.
Yeah, it's a long race.
Long race, plenty of action, and there seems to be a bit of a battle between the Red Bulls. Mark is desperately trying to be in front, but Merman is catching up slowly. Now, are they going to play as team players, or are they going to try and go for a Max Checo relationship? As Merman goes extremely wide there. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting here because obviously Mark Wilson, as I said, that Mark Wilson gets a penalty. But I believe Mark Wilson may be quicker than Bracey in front now, just because Bracey's on older soft tyres. And as I say, that is Mark going to make a move into turn 1? Yes, he does.
He's going.
Bracey holds it around the outside. Mark's probably got the better traction now on those tyres.
There's a bit of a tap there between Mark and Bracey as Mark goes wide, and another bit of contact there, forcing Bracey to go a bit wide. Bracey losing the position, drops down to P5. Maybe one for the stewards maybe to look into, but I don't think it was anything too major, if I'm honest. But the penalties are now building up quick and cheerfully. I don't know if you've got the penalties open, but I'm just watching them slowly go up one by one.
No, I'm keeping an eye on this Mark Wilson battle with Bracey and Merman. But as I was saying, I think Mark Wilson now has sort of the tyre offset now, where his mediums are sort of better, in better condition. I think he should now stretch his legs. I think that was important for Mark as well, in case he didn't want to give the position to his teammate. So yeah, if he can, he's got another penalty. But if he can get on it now and sort of stretch his legs and see what he can do.
Well, our front two runners,
about that, Bracey's in.
And so are Dan and Wesley. They have also come in on for the hards. Bracey, who is coming in now, he has gone for the mediums.
Yeah. So 17 laps on those mediums.
Doable?
It's doable, 100%.
Bearing no safety cars, I think it's doable.
Yeah. It just means it might be a little bit sketchy at the end with the guys on the sort of harder tyre, maybe. Because you've got to think as well, drivers like Merman and Phantom, what they're going to be going on to, because they started on the hards as well, and they're going to take those as long as they can and maybe stick on a set of softs. You saw that the softs went about 10 laps. So if they can extend their stint a bit longer, they could be in prime position to sort of work their way through the field. So it's going to be interesting now. But obviously, first round of pit stops is done.
Yeah, there is, and I believe that was the Alfa Romeo of Wee Rabbi going a little bit wide there into the start of turn 2, but he has seemed to have got back control now. But we'll have to just keep an eye on him. It wasn't anything too major there. Dean, currently the championship leader, is currently in P1. He's now 3 seconds in front of Mark Wilson, as we have a yellow flag in the background, and I believe that's for the AlphaTauri of Severe Scott. I think he's had a bit of a spin, but it's nothing too major. Oh, he's lost a wing! Oh, the man's missing a wing. And Dean Pryor has decided to come in, so Merman now takes lead of the Grand Prix as Atom picks up another 3-second time penalty. We called it the penalty Grand Prix for a reason, as Dean Pryor comes in and goes for a set of white walls. So I think that was 3 out of the 4 soft runners came in for hards, and 1 of them came in for mediums, if I'm correct.
Yeah. Interesting as well, there was a position change between Mark and Merman. Don't know if that was a legitimate overtake between the two, or did Mark just let him go. Not sure, but yeah, be interesting to see what happens now between the 2 Red Bulls, and if Mark can keep up with Merman now, because Merman seems to have stretched his legs a little bit now. But also Mark has to be careful, because he's got 6 seconds worth of penalties, and he wants obviously to finish as high as he can. So it'd be interesting to see now, does he change his driving tactics, or does he just go for it?
Well, like you said, we're going to have to wait and see, but it is still a long race to go. We're coming up very shortly to the halfway mark. Only 1 retirement, that is from Kitas. So AlphaTauri have already lost 1 driver. Now, going on to an earlier conversation that I was having, Dean Pryor has now overtaken the mighty Atom. No surprises there, he is on the newer tyres. It's 3 wide, and there's a bump there from Bracey into the back of Dean, I believe, there. I don't know if Bracey's picked up any damage there. Yes, he has. He's lost an end plate on his wing. Oh, Bracey. Dan's going fastest. Bracey coming into pit again. Yeah, that's something definitely for the stewards to maybe look into post-race.
I think he just got the 3-second time penalty for the corner.
Yeah, I'm not referring to that.
Oh, okay.
I'm referring to what happened with his wing. I saw the back end of it, but that's all I pretty much saw. I didn't see the incident itself, but there was a bit of a love tap, but that's it. Dean Pryor now got to 8.
P5, so you've got Adam, you've got Wee Rabbi, and you've got Wesley all together. Coming out of Sector 1, sorry. And I think Wesley's just made a nice move around the outside as well, which is a good move there.
Just caught that because I was on board with one of the other drivers in that battle, but on board with him now, see if he can get it done again, because it's a beautifully done.
He's making moves. Wesley's making moves.
There's a nice, interesting battling going on there. It's looking clean from my point of view.
Yeah, if elbows were out there.
Jenkins and Bracey have also come in for a fresh set of mediums each.
Can't lie, Dan is just in a race of his own at the moment. He's in P4, obviously he's got the net lead, 2.6 seconds behind P3. It's going to be interesting, is he going to just look after the tyres, or is he going to close up to them? Obviously he doesn't want to take too much life out of them, doesn't want to get into the dirty air, because that may affect him in his cornering as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how he sort of takes this sort of middle phase of this race now. I think this is probably the most important phase of the race.
Yeah, the midway point, it definitely is.
No one caught it.
It sort of puts you in good stead. It either puts you in good stead or it puts you in bad stead for the rest of the race. This middle stint here.
100%. Right then, let's go see if we can find a bit of a battle. Wee Rabbi seems to be trying to close the gap down on Adam. So let's see if Rabbi can do that as Sophia Scott, as his night goes from bad to worse, picks up a 3-second time penalty. Most of the grid now has a penalty of some kind against their name. So it's now just going to come down to who cannot get penalties. That's, let's face it, what it will be. So what's coming up next for the Twitch channel? Well, coming up next after tonight's stream, you'll catch us again on Monday, where me and AFL both take to the track. And bad news for your 95 lovers, your friendly neighbourhood Spider has had to drop to pad for the foreseeable future. Not something I'm happy about, but hey ho. Now, interesting strategy call. Mark Wilson has opted for a pair of softs.
I think he's thinking that he could probably stretch those to the end, and possibly so. Obviously, the track rubber's in a bit more. More rubber's been laid, so there's going to be more grip, less sliding. So he may be able to take those to the end. But whether he can or he can't, we know that he'll be rapid in this sort of phase of the race now.
Yeah, he will be. It'll be interesting to watch.
He's already making a move from somebody.
He's trying to get round Phantom Nug. He goes on the outside and does get the position. Yeah. Obviously, Phantom Nug on their mediums. Maybe Phantom Nug may not be worried as much because the softs may die down a bit and it'll allow Nug to get the overtake again. But it's going to be interesting to see what Mark's bringing to the table here. Is he bad or is he wise? Well, only one way to find out.
Only one way to find out. Tune in for the next 13 laps and then you will see.
Well, normally at this point, Sky F1 will turn around and say, if you press your red button, you can go on board with any of the 20 drivers. We don't have that technology. You have to wait and see what mood I'm feeling in, and hopefully I jump on yours. I'll tell you who I'm going to jump on board with. Merman, who's got a bit wide in the battle for P4 against Wee Rabbi, as Wee Rabbi picks up a 3-second time penalty. Merman must be sitting there quite, but Wee Rabbi has decided to come in. Obviously, their mediums are screaming out clearly as Jenkins picks up another 3-second time penalty this evening. It's called the Penalty Grand Prix for a reason.
Yeah, well, also maybe making a move down into turn 1 here. I'm on board with him now.
He is, and I think he's going to go for a move on the Mighty Atom around the outside. Can he get it done? And I think the answer is yes, he has. He's made that look easy, but then again,
that was ridiculous. See the pace difference there. He's on brand new softs. I think it was just better for Atom to just let him through.
Yeah, I wouldn't even attempt the battle.
Yeah.
I think Atom's also let the other Red Bull of Merman pass as well, I believe. Oh, but we do have a yellow flag in Sector 1. Who's gone for a bit of a spin? I think it's Jenkins. I don't know what's happened. I think he may have had a bit of a tank slap, but he's now dropped down to P13. No major damage by the looks of it. His wing looks fine, the car looks fine, the driver looks fine. He's back on the road and away he goes. As Atom and Phantom Nug switch positions. Atom managing to get round Phantom Nug, so the older mediums doing a bit better than the newer mediums maybe. Obviously, a big thank you and a big hello to anyone that is watching the channel this evening. I know there's plenty of stuff you could be watching on telly, but you've chosen to come and watch me and AFL comms over some virtual F1 cars. So all the support and all the love you do give to the channel, it really, really does mean the world. If you want to support the channel just that little bit more, obviously drop it a follow. You'll get notifications to say when we go live, and obviously when I go live and I'm doing other streams. So it's not just F1 I stream. Obviously we've got Friday Night Fortnite featuring Mark Jarvis and Nathan Clark. Big shout out to them too. And obviously you have Monday Night F1 with me and AFL from the driver's position, where we race in Tier 5 of SRL. And then obviously on the Saturday nights you have SRL for what we're doing at the moment. If you're feeling just a little bit more generous though, and I never ever do ask people to do this, but if you want to, you can hit the subscribe button and become a channel member. That quite literally means that you're paying for the channel, and any money that you do get does go towards making this channel better, and it does go to making streams better, and it pays for new equipment and stuff like that. So if you do wish to do that, obviously feel free, but just hitting that follow button for free that means more to me than hitting that subscribe button. Anyway, we seem to have a battle for P9 going on as Wee Rabby gets round CRL Topher, as Wee Rabby has also opted to go for a fresh pair of softs, and so is Jess. So some of the drivers thinking that the Red Wall tyres are the better compound to go for, AFL. Your thoughts on this?
They're the ones out there at the moment. They probably have a better understanding of how the track is, obviously, reacting to the tyres and everything, so good on them, good luck to them, and hopefully it can work out for them. Obviously it's nice to see different strategies playing out in the race as well, not just the bog standard, everybody following the same strategy. So yeah, looking good. Let's see if they can make some inroads now on these softer tyres.
Well, Atom has also thought, you know what, I'm going to have a piece of this action. He's opted for a fresh pair of softs as well. So I do think that they've got a feeling that there may not be any safety cars coming this evening. It might just be a mad dash to the finish. Salvatore retakes P11 and Jenkins is out of the session. I don't know what's happened to him.
Not sure where he's retired, mate. I can't see it. I think it may have been the pits.
He is retired in the pits. I think he's called it a day. Obviously, he did have a fair few penalties. So I think he's gone, you know what, instead of potentially hindering the other drivers, I think he's gone, just play it safe, call it a day. He did say he was struggling with this track, to be fair, during practice all week. So, but at least he's put the effort in, he's tried, that's the main thing. He's not just turned around and said, I'm not going to race. He's tried, that is the main thing. Yeah, and the Williams of Jenkins has come back out, but he's done the right thing and retired in track. So there is a yellow flag in Sector 1 at the moment. Right then, let's take a look. So, Jess picks up another 3-second time penalty. It's literally, we only have 4 drivers on track. Phantom Nug, Dean Pryor, Merman and Dan, who have not picked up any penalties so far this race. Just remember, if you are reported to the stewards, make sure you've got your footage to hand. Obviously, the stewards have wanted me to remind you that if you are reported and you don't have your footage, you can receive a qualifying ban, because it is in the rules and regulations that we do need to see your PFE if you are atted. Remember, the steward's office is now open until 5 PM on Sunday night, British summer time. So make sure you get your reports in while you can. Any reports submitted after that, they will not be counted. But anyway, on board with our championship leader, well, provisional championship leader as it stands, if he finishes the race in first, Dan is literally in a league of his own at the moment. 16 seconds ahead of the next car, which is Merman, and Wesley is trying to close the gap down on that Red Bull. The battle of a Merc and a Mercedes. Where have we heard this story before, AFL?
You ask me this question every week, and every week I get PTSD about 2021.
I'm going to be doing it for the next 15 rounds, mate. I'm going to make sure...
Please, no, please don't.
Hey, how do you think I feel? I've got a Ferrari on pole tomorrow at Monza, and all we're going to hear is the Dutch national anthem.
We might not.
I hope not.
We might not.
I hope not. I really want to hear some other national... I'll take Checo's national anthem at this point. I just want to hear something. It's all I hear when I go to sleep is just Max's national anthem when I'm thinking about F1. Oh, do you want to... You know what? When we boot up the game, you know what they might as well play? They might as well just play the national anthem.
Then they would lose a lot of money, because a lot of people wouldn't buy the game.
Formula Max, that's what it should be called.
Well, technically, he is in a league of his own at the moment, so you might as well call it Formula Max.
Yeah, well, there's a lovely battle going on between Dean Pryor and Mark Wilson, as Mark makes it look easy and goes around the outside of the current championship leader, that is Dean Pryor. But Dean may have let him go, because compared to Mark, he's got no penalties. So, strategy maybe? Would you say that would be a strategy call? As more penalties are coming in Now, Atom picking up another 3-second time penalty. I'm curious to see what the penalties are at the moment. Let's. That's a big bunch of penalties. So, Wesley has 3 seconds, Mark has 12, Adam has 11, Ravi's got 6, Bracey's got 3, Topher's got 12, Salvatore's got 3, Atom's got 12, Jess has got 3, and Severe Scott has got 9.
Yeah, there's a lot of penalties, mate.
There's a lot of penalties. We're just making sure everybody has completed their man. Everybody but one driver, but I think he must have felt a disturbance through the game. So I was about to say, everyone but Topher has completed their mandatory pit stop. He's in the pits as it speaks, and there's only one tyre he's got to be going for, and it is. He opts for that set of soft. So maybe he's going to try and get that fastest lap away from Dan.
Oh, we got somebody in the wall, Scott.
Oh, who's gone? Scott.
He's not gone. He lost it on traction coming into the last corner. And I think that's Dan that's just got past him, yeah.
So Scott has been lapped.
Yeah.
Oh. Not had a good race, has Scott. But he's still going, that's the main thing. But Dan is just in a league of his own. Champion in the making? First SRL champion? Too early to call?
Too early to call, mate. Too early to call. Let's just see how things play out.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, it's a long route to the finale in Las Vegas. Obviously, we've got a few full-time drivers still out at the moment. Obviously, hopefully they'll be back racing again shortly. Obviously, Dan's teammate, Baby Driver, he's currently off this weekend. Obviously, then you've got, Bracey's... Obviously, it's Bracey's teammate, Heavenly Verizon, he's off this weekend as well. Obviously, we've got a few as well. J. Cole, the other Alfa Romeo driver, he's currently out. Who can we see else that we've... we've got another yellow flag in Sector 1. And I think Commentator's Cars, it has struck Topher. He's gone for a bit of a spin. He's in the gravel trap. And that was a fresh pair of softs or cold tyres, maybe?
Keeping an eye on Scott. I don't know if he's got any damage, but the car just seems weird, like uncontrollable. I don't know if he has any damage. I'm trying to have a look to see. There's no damage to the car, but the car just looks really unstable.
Maybe those tyres are screaming a bit. Possibly.
How many laps has he been on those tyres?
10. Can we see fuel LVLS in stream?
Their working window now, really. Oh, we've got a slight spinner there for Topher, but he keeps it pointing the right way.
As far as I'm aware, you can't see the fuel levels in the stream. I've got somebody asking if they can see fuel levels in the stream. I don't think you can you? It's not one of the options we've got.
It only comes up if you are less than, say, maybe a lap, and it will pop up in the sort of bottom left where the fuel light is.
Red.
Yeah, it will keep flashing.
We've got Mark, who's currently got a yellow. Phantom's on yellow. Adam's on yellow. Salvatore is on yellow. Severe Scott's on yellow. And that's pretty much it. That's the best we're able to do for you, Luke, unfortunately. Unfortunately, I can't do anything better than that. So I hope that was a bit helpful for you. But we do have 5 laps of racing left to go, and Dan is just in a league of his own. He's got no penalties. I don't know if he's got any warnings or not. Merriman keeping him company. So they're looking at a 1-2 between them. The battle for P3 is going to certainly be an interesting one when it comes to penalties. I think Phantom Nug is looking to be taking that P3 slot as we speak. But obviously, everything will be revealed at the end of the race. I think that's what it's going to come down to. Let's face it, AFL. We're just going to have to wait post-race to see who finishes last. Yeah, those softs are just screaming out. I thought 8 laps would be too much.
I think he might. He's definitely going to go for the fastest lap attempt now and try and
100%.
take that away from Dan.
Stop Dan from getting a perfect round.
Yeah. I'll be back in 1 sec, mate.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine, matey. Take your time. As Mark is now desperately trying to get ahead of Adam. Adam is going to get out in front of Mark, I believe. Ravi is also going to get out in front of Mark. He is, but Mark will have the softer tyres, and Bracey also getting round Mark. So Mark has dropped a fair few positions there, as Phantom Nug is now moved up to P4. So it's currently McLaren, Red Bull, then Merck, then Mark. Obviously, like I said, if you do have interest in joining SRL in the future, obviously do feel free to join our Discord server.
No one
We're
caught it.
more than happy for anyone to join it, but at the moment applications are currently closed for full-time and reserve drivers due to some issues that we had in Portimao last week. But never say never, we may need to reopen them as the season goes on. So do please keep an eye out for more updates. There is a social media channel coming soon. It will be a Twitter, and we'll keep you up to date with all that, and you can find all our news on there. But for now, we are still a new channel. We are still building. We wanted to get the racing underhead. Yeah, Mark Wilson's dropped a fair few positions, mate, but he is on the brand new soft, so he should catch up certain positions, to be fair to him.
But it's going to be one of those, will it actually matter, because he's got those penalties as well. Got 15 seconds worth. So it could just be in vain.
One way to find out. Atom is trying to close the gap down now on Salvatore. Trying to desperately get up into the points. It's fresh softs versus old mediums, but the length those mediums have been out, I'd say the tyres are pretty much even Stevens at this point, as Atom will get DRS as he goes wide and picks up another 3 second time penalty.
15 seconds worth of penalties as well.
Yeah,
This track is tough.
It is. It's a mean track. That's why I didn't put it as the season opener. I thought wait for a couple of rounds in and then chuck it into the mix there.
Yeah.
But we'll look to the future as we talk about Miami now. I mean, Miami's a nice circuit. It's a hard circuit, but it is nice. But we probably will see 1 or 2 safety cars, let's face it. Because it's quite, the wars in Miami are quite... Obviously, Lando, the very first race. Obviously, he had that clip with another driver into a wall. Boom, out. But Mark Wilson has... Well, I say Mark Wilson. Mike Atom, I should say, has got past Salvatore. But like you said, penalties are going to come into play at the end of this race with just 3 laps left to go. The battle for P10 is hotting up between these two drivers. We're going to see it out and see what happens. I think Salvatore may just let Atom go, if I'm honest, because he knows that post-race he'll probably get bumped up above him, as Jess picks up another 3 second time penalty as well. Interesting battling going off between these two. I don't know if you're on board with them. Mark Wilson's got past Bracey on those fresher softs. He's now back up to P8, but then again, penalties galore. So it's going to be interesting.
I think Mark's just out here having fun now for this part of the race. Just see if he can get some overtakes in. Don't know if you have it in this league. Do you have like an overtake of the week or anything like that?
There is a channel where people can submit their overtakes. It's called Sweet Overtakes, and at the end of the season we're going to go through them all and we're going to go our overtake of the season. So get them all in and we'll take a look. Sweet
Everyone get overtake and put some nice ones in there.
That's why it's called Sweet Overtakes. Only from official races for SRL will they be counted. If you put a random overtake in from somewhere else, we're not going to really look at it. We'll look at it and go, that's a sweet overtake. But it's not an SRL sweet overtake.
So, Merman has closed the gap on Dan by 2 seconds. It's
well, they're subbing.
15 seconds. I think Dan's just chilling, taking it easy.
Yeah, he's in a league of his own. More penalties coming in left, right and centre.
Yeah. But you know what? Fair play to the guys that are going to finish this race without any penalties. Because the competition are showing how tough it is to get round without obviously getting penalties. They're getting the penalties as well.
Exactly. But we've got some tough tracks coming up though, AFL, over the next few weeks. So, like I said, it's Miami next week, followed by a week break. Then we're going down under to Australia, China, and then Monaco. So that's a rough 3 tracks there, back to back. Then we've got 2 weeks break, as we then go for a mad 8-header. We've then got Brazil, which is a nice track. Obviously, we've had some good times in Brazil before. Mexico, Imola, Austria, and then we've got Abu Dhabi, Belgium, Monza, and Las Vegas. So that middle sector of the calendar, that is going to decide the boys from the men, or in this sort of the case, girls from the women. obviously we're not just men racing in this league. We do have all drivers racing in this league.
And that's what we like to see, inclusive for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. We race as one, as they do say in real F1. However, the race can only be won by one, and we're going to jump on board with him as he starts. Well, I say starts. He's in sector 2 at the moment. He has led from. Oh, hang on though, but we're gonna. What's gone on? There was a bit of a yellow flag between Salvatore and Adam. Here, Scott picks up a 3-second time penalty. Bracey's got past Mark Wilson again. Oh, there's interesting battling going on right to the finish line, but we are going to jump on board, like I was saying, with a man who has led from start to finish. He currently has fastest lap. He's looking to become the provisional championship leader. He's currently the race leader as he comes around the final corner. Dan will make it 2 wins in a row. He's going to come around the corner. He's going to celebrate a little bit as he becomes the SRL's first champion of Qatar, as he makes it a perfect day with the fastest lap and the win.
I'm going to have to correct you. He didn't actually lead every single lap of the race.
Well, when he came into pit, he did start off on pole.
I know. He did start off on pole and he finished in first. But yeah, it's not technically it's not a grand slam.
No, it's not a grand slam, but he still had the perfect points weekend though at this point.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's not going to care. He's won. He's got the maximum points.
He has.
Can go now and enjoy his Saturday evening.
He can. Merman has crossed the line to come P2. Wesley comes P3. Phantom Nug crosses the line in P4. Dean P5. Now the penalties are going to start coming into play here now at this point. The Haas of Adam is about to cross the line. Bracey finishes P6 due to penalties. Adam drops to 7th. They're all starting to come in now, and everyone's getting rearranged. So we're going to wait for everyone to finish. But what we can say, Salvatore picks up a 3-second time penalty right at the very end. But what we can say is that Dan, as it stands, he's not going to get probably involved by any post-game penalties. Dan should be our new championship leader. What a race it was, AFL. We had battles everywhere. Dan made it look a bit easy, but it was a good race nonetheless. No safety cars either.
Yeah, and I think that's just testament to these guys as well. How well they drove in terms of trying to give each other space. Look, there was a few bumps. But that's racing. It's not going to be clean all the time.
No.
But yeah, no, the guys drove really well today. And yeah, congratulations to Dan as well. Absolutely brilliant drive from him. Well deserved.
Yeah, Dan making it look easy as he goes 2 wins in a row. But it was a good race nonetheless. Well, obviously we'll go through where everybody finished in a moment, but I've got a feeling there is going to be some reports for the stewards to look into tomorrow evening. I don't think there's going to be a lot, but I think there's still going to be a few. So just to round things off, Dan obviously wins for McLaren P1. So perfect. It gets a fastest lap point as well. So Dan P1, Merman P2, Wesley P3, Phantom Nug P4, Dean P5, Bracey P6, Wee Rabby P7, Adam P8, P9 for Mark Wilson, and Jess will finish off the points in P10. Salvatore P11, Mighty Atom P12, Severe Scott P13, Topher P14, Jenkins P15, Pretas P16. So just got to try and get all this sorted. I've got to wait for that to move. Yeah. So, obviously we don't do post-race interviews in CRL. We go for AFL's notebook instead. Obviously, where we in AFL just have a quick chat before, obviously, we let you guys go and enjoy the remainder of your Saturday. AFL, your thoughts, obviously, at the end of the Qatar Grand Prix?
Good race. I think we alluded to Dan was just in a league of his own, in his own world. But there was good battling throughout the whole field as well, which is obviously good. and it also shows obviously that the skill gap isn't too different between obviously certain drivers in the midfield and sort of the upper levels of the tier. So yeah, we've got good couple of tracks coming up soon, and as you said, that's gonna sort of make everybody stand to attention really, and obviously the cream rises to the top as well. Some difficult tracks in there, so it's going to be nice to see who comes through and who gets through these next couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Obviously next week I'm looking forward to Miami. As you know, Miami has a special place in my heart. The first track where I got a P2 in E-League racing, so still hunting that maiden win. It's coming. You never know, with me being back on pad as CRL on Monday, I might get it. It's coming. But what is coming is still a lot of action for SRL. Like I said, we've still got 12 rounds separating us from crowning our first champion of SRL. It is still too early to call. I know obviously I mentioned maybe Dan could be a championship contender. No doubt about it, he is going to be in the run for the championship, but there is still plenty of talent which stands in his way. Dan will sit on top of everyone at the moment as our new championship leader, but still a long way to go, still all to play for. As always, we've been your hosts. I've been CRL Spider 95. My good friend and former Ferrari teammate has been AFL 1994. We will see you next week, same time as always, in Miami.